Hello everyone, welcome to a new video on the channel. Today we're looking at something really different. Now if you've followed me over on Instagram already, you would have seen a reel that I put out and it was all about this tiny little notebook. And today I'm going to show you in real time what this notebook is all about and how it is affecting my reading journal process, and also how much I am enjoying being in my reading journal again. So let's get straight into what this tiny little notebook represents. I'm going to put my very dirty already notebook off to the side, my reading journal, and we're just going to look at this little guy here. It does have an elasticated band that I do have around the front normally, but I was just using it, so I have left it off. And I've just stuck this little Temu sticker on the front that says "Where the pages bloom." My best friend got this in a pack, so I stole it from her. Well, she gave it to me, but I thought it was really cute and fitting for this little notebook because it is just a pre-printed, like student-styled notebook, or calendar, journal, whatever you want to call it. And I have been using it for almost, how many weeks? 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3 weeks now. So almost 3 weeks. And I am absolutely obsessed with it. So essentially what I've been doing, we'll go back to a page here and I'll zoom in so you don't have to squint to look at how tiny this little notebook is. Essentially what I have been using this for is when I'm reading every day, I can just whip this out when I'm finished reading and quickly jot down without any decoration, without any faffing around, what I read. Essentially this has become the powerhouse behind keeping my reading journal in a neater order. I really like the aesthetics of my reading journal, and I really like having everything look presentable and aesthetic and just pretty, and often enough I make so many mistakes that isn't always the case. And whilst I own that and I enjoy that, I am a perfectionist by nature, and I think it was really important to me when I found another user who plans for her planner, that it was okay to do this. Like, I had never thought about doing it, but once I was just completely sold. Being a perfectionist means that I like to have sort of like a mock-up, and this is really helping me with that. So as you can see, I'm just writing down the titles here. In the beginning I was writing out the full titles of the books that I was reading at the time, so you can see where I've started things, and I've made a clear key with just some, what are they, mild liners. So here's one of the colours that I've been using, the neon ones, because I don't tend to use them as much, and I use these two colours, the blue and the yellow, in my budgeting journal, so it's just really easy for me to continue to use them because I know what they kind of represent in that. So I've used the same setup, so when I've started a bill I always use blue, and when I finish paying it off I always use yellow. So I've done the same here. I have put in the little this week's focus section, just started, finished, and DNF. This was before I changed it up a little bit, and I've just done like a little running tally of when I've started something, when I've finished something. I did a lot of reading of novellas in this particular week, so that's why there's so many. And I'm also using it to quickly glance at, so I can tell when I've started something, when I finished it, but also the percentage that I read that day. Just cutting in here to quickly state that I was doing it in this spread here, but I didn't carry it on, and I've just noticed it while I'm editing this video, that the circled numbers are what I've given the rating for the books, and I'm going to go back through now and add them all to the other pages because I don't know why I stopped doing that. And when I've DNF'd something, or when I have picked up a Kindle takedown, I'm writing down the number down here because when I draw them out they just look like this. So that was the latest number I had, and I just end up writing them down here. And it's been really handy to have this information because I don't have to then grab my reading journal until the end of the week and then I can fill it all in at once, and it just feels like it's more consistent. My handwriting stays the same. I do have that trouble of my handwriting changing a little bit as I do things. So yeah, it's just been really fun. I've done 2 weeks of it. Obviously this week I was reading House of Flame and Shadow with some friends, so definitely didn't read as much other books than that. And then I have this week, which we're going to be focusing on. Now I have started to add a little bit in of this week already because of the reel that I did the other day, and I am currently on Saturday when I'm filming this because I want it to go out tomorrow, so I don't have any content for these 2 days in here that we'll be putting into my reading journal today. But as you can see, we've got some information here. I've started 3 different stories this week. I have finished 3. I haven't DNF'd and I haven't sampled anything. So sampled is what I'm classing anything under 10%, and if I'm DNFing anything over 10%, that's what I get. So I thankfully have finished my first Kindle takedown, and I'm very happy about that. So let's get into using this journal for what its intended purposes are. So like I mentioned, I haven't been pulling this big bad boy out nearly as much, which is good because it takes up a lot of space on my desk, and I'm finding it not a challenge to use, but I just find that when I'm hauling it out all the time, I normally don't have a clean desk. This is not normally how it looks to me. There's normally like a pile of other notebooks, so like these are always piled here, this will be probably on here, like a mess. I've got this little small space to work in if I need to, pushing stuff off to the side. So it's easier for me now to just have this little guy and then spend some time in this one that I really enjoy, and I'm actually enjoying myself a lot more now because it almost feels like a chore to fill it in every day for me. I know it sounds very first world problem, it's only like 5-10 minutes of my day, but when I'm tired or if I want to be reading instead, I don't really want to be filling this in. And in the past you would have seen when I was filling things in that I'd forget the percentages of what I read on that day and then try to remember which day I read and stuff. So this has been keeping me better accountable for everything that I've been reading. Right, we're going to get straight into it. Goodreads challenge. This month's colour is red, and I've already marked down 4 of them, but I have actually got more. Let me just quickly check, and it will say that I have read 29 books so far. So we need to go down to here and fill these in. These Anko dual brush pens that I'm using very, very inky, which I like, but it does mean that I have to wait a little bit for them to dry before I can turn the page over. I've also taken to using a bit of scrap paper to blot some of the colour off. It's mostly this red one actually. The others aren't so bad, but this red one it takes a while to dry, and then we'll end up with little stains, which I have already got a couple of little stains over here since I didn't wait long enough on that side of the page. So just waiting for that. It should be dry any minute now, and as you can see I've been using it to blot the colour. So I just go in, see, look how much colour just came off, and it's still really, you know, alright. Now I've smudged it on the page. Well, that's not very good for me today, is it? But never mind, I can fix that later. Just get some more of that colour off and then let it dry. And then we've got, so we've already put down view all. So for this month, there we go. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 6 books to sort out today. Some of them are already in because it wasn't just this week. But I have been a little bit delayed in filling this in, so we shall do it together. I hope you're all doing really well. I am not too bad. I've not had the greatest week. We did have to go to the vet clinic yesterday with one of our cats. Sorry, the things are on my desk a little bit crooked. And yeah, it wasn't pleasant. Thankfully though, she's okay. She came home. I actually thought we were putting her down yesterday. I had convinced myself she had renal failure because she had lost a lot of weight and she was drinking a lot of water. Dr. Google had told me this, and a few friends as well. Unfortunately, she's come home. She's yeah, the vet couldn't actually tell me what was wrong with her, so that was a little bit frustrating. to pay for bloods and everything and then be told that she was all normal. What is the next book on the list? It was, let me see, in the little book here. So the first book I finished this week was Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. Yep, that makes sense. So, Done and Dusted I gave green colour. Number, yep, 4 stars is green. And Curvy Girls was the one that I finished the week before. Yep, so you can see Curvy Girls Can't Date Quarterbacks was the one I finished last week, and then the next one is Done and Dusted, so you can start on that colour. But yeah, no, they couldn't tell me what was wrong with her, which was kind of frustrating because we don't have an answer for why she's lost weight. We've got some options, which is much more affordable than things like kidney failure or diabetes or something like that. But it wasn't, like, it's hard to say because I don't want to be complaining about it, but at the same time I'd love to know so then we can help her, and we don't have an answer. So for now she's home, she's eating, she seems fine, like she's not stopped eating this entire time, but she's been vomiting and stuff. So we've got to change her diet a little bit. We're going to put her on a hairball control thing. We're going to see if it's hairball related because she has been with a lot of fur. The next book I finished was House of Flame and Shadows, and I gave that 5 stars, which a lot of people were surprised by because I don't often talk a big game about Sarah J Maas, but I actually like this one. It was my favourite of the series so far. And I've noticed that it's a lot of people's least favourite book by the author in total, which is really wild to me. But, you know, this is the greatest thing about reading. We all have different tastes. So we'll get that colour in. Actually, is this the right colour? Yeah, yep, that is. There's quite a few pens in this collection and they all look similar in colour in the barrels, and then you put them out side by side and you're like, oh, actually, 2 different colours. And then the other book I finished was let me see. It was Love Off Limits, which was the Kindle takedown book, which I gave 3.5 stars, I think. So that was the cat. And I also had a few things happen this week that wasn't planned. I don't try to get into too much personal stuff on here because this is a book channel. But I haven't kept it quiet that my mum is unwell, and also that my grandmother had to be put into a rest home last year, and that was one of the biggest stresses of the year since I had to clean out her entire house that had been sort of like a hoarding zone for the last 15 years. And yeah, both of them have needed me this week, which is fine. That's essentially what I do. I'm a full-time carer to my mum at the moment. And yeah, we just had a really tough Wednesday with my mum, and it wasn't ideal, and trying to fight professionals is quite hard because, you know, they can only do so much, but at the same time I don't feel like they're doing enough by my mum. It's, yeah, you see, like when you're looking after someone every day, you see what happens to them, and then the professional's only seen them for like 5-10 minutes, and it's like, just, could you listen? But unfortunately they do hold the power over me, and I have asked for help, and we will have to wait and see what will happen. My mum's fine, she's just really sore, and like she had a fall, and it was the first time out in public that it happened, and I panicked. And I've been trying to fight for this for quite a while now, and I'm not getting any support. So aside from her personal doctor, but he seems to be having a blockade with the hospital as well, so we shall see. But that was really scary for my family, and it's been quite stressful. So doing this right now feels really nice because everything's sorted, so I can just sit here and enjoy this. I find that journaling is definitely one of my favorite pastimes to relax with. So that's all 3 books put in. I did space out Love Off Limits a little bit. That colour will come through eventually, I hope. Sometimes I find that these Jelly Roll white pens, the smaller tip, not the 10 but the 8s, are just a little slow at pulling out colour. Sometimes I like to just go over it and bring that colour forward, and then you make little mistakes. That's alright. I mean, it's still not great, but I can read it in person, so that's the main thing. The good thing about the white is it dries faster than all the other colours because it's definitely not as inky, and I am very happy to just leave this without the wax paper in between because it's white, so it will just end up being quite covered by other colours when we get to that side. But I do still give it about a minute or two here or there just to dry. Like the Done and Dusted will be dry already. And House of Flame and Shadow also dry, and that was a little tacky, but that'll be fine. Moving on, these pages we don't touch until the end of the month, and we are in February, which is here. So let me zoom you in a little bit because this one isn't as close. What just happened? Oh, there we go. So as you can see, I've already started to fill in this week's worth of information because of that reel. Normally I would leave it until Sunday to do this as well and then just fill in the entire week, but we are here and I wanted to show you this new process that I've been using. So I find it really helpful. This book is just really indispensable to me right now. So Thursday we have 2 books to write down, and Wednesday we only had the one, which is already down. And my colours, I'm using the Anko Dot Markers, which I'm obsessed with, and my 4 colours are for this month grey, brown, green and gold, which that one's the grey. It's really hard to tell at times, like obviously when you have them side by side you can tell that one's the black one, but I keep grabbing the wrong ones if I'm not careful. Right, so for physical, have I read any physicals? No. So this one here is The Invisible Life of 𝓬𝓲𝓷𝓭, and I'm listening to that one. So audiobook is green, and we're doing the 8th. And then Love Off Limits is an ebook, so that's brown. Add that in there. Oh, where did my light go? The sun just went behind a cloud. Let me just see if that helps. Bringing that back that way. There we go, a bit more light, wonderful. And the pen I'm using to write at the moment is my black Fudenosuke hard tip. And I've just put in the acronyms. This one doesn't leave me a lot of room, this top line, because of the date being there. It's always annoying when you have a longer header. I should have swapped them around, but never mind. Done. And then on this day we've got Swift and Saddled, which is an arc that I have at the moment, and I've started it only late last night. I wasn't really supposed to be reading, I was supposed to be sleeping, but I just wanted to start it, and it was really good. The start to this one's a lot more engaging than Done and Dusted, so hopefully this one will be a higher rating. I actually really liked Done and Dusted, but I had my issues with a couple of things, so that's why I gave it 4 stars. Still a really enjoyable read, and 4 stars is a great star rating in my opinion. Right, so nothing to... oh, you better zoom out now a little bit. Nothing to change. I haven't finished any arcs, and I haven't added any more books this week so far. This is the Battle of the Girl Bands. There's the rest of the title. And I have already started to fill in things along here of what I've completed off camera, and I have not done anything else because the one I was reading was South Carolina or North Carolina, one of them, so unfortunately I can't do the Georgia set in Georgia one because that would be really nice to have already completed. I don't think I've completed any of the ones that I wrote down for these buzzwordathon. What is the buzzwordathon prompt? Where are we? Gone too far. Positive happy words. Well, love is a positive happy word, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, we'll put that down there because I haven't dedicated a book to this one. So, over here we've got love, off limits, and that was by Jenny Proctor. I absolutely hate my handwriting along this side because it's just so tall still. I really ought to put a book to rest my hand, but I am struggling with the 𝓬𝓲 readathon. I have to read either a book with a mystery / thrillers, which I don't tend to read, or a word, it has to have the word mist in the title, which I can't seem to find a book with mist in the title. Or it can be in the series title, and I've already read the book that had that in it, so I'm not sure. That's a later me problem, so we don't have to add anything to this page here, but this is the time where I would go through and make sure that I have, you know, knocked down everything that I have DNF'd or all that. And did I DNF anything last week and not write it down? Nope, not on that page. Excellent. So we're good. We don't have to do anything yet there. Now, as you can see on this side here, I have started to fill them in, but I haven't gotten very far. I also really butchered this header, which annoys me, but I have gone and picked up, I don't really like correction pens or correction fluid very much because it gets quite bumpy, but this one's actually quite flat. I have been using it to fill in like tiny little gaps because I'm finding that gel pens aren't doing it as much anymore. So let's get the pen we're using for the headers out, which was, it's this one here actually. I'm using the bullet tip end, and the next book on the list, we've got our little book here that tells us when we start and finish things. So the next book we finished was Done and Dusted. And I may speed this part up a little bit, I'm not sure. I do think what I need to start doing with this one here, so then when it comes to filling in this, I mean it's not a big deal because I do have Goodreads already open. It would make more sense that when I finish things that I should write down the page number right next to that. So let's just change that really quickly now while I'm thinking about it, because that's a really good idea. I didn't think about that in the beginning. And we'll just go 3, 5, 6 page, because I have been writing down the page I get to if I'm reading a physical book, and so yeah, I've been writing that down, but I think if I put it here next to where it says Finn, that would make more sense. Okay, and then we have it. It's all complete now. I've done all the updating that I needed to do. We're already ready to move on to this page here, which is fantastic. I just really wanted to show you how I've been using this system for the last couple of weeks and how I've really enjoyed it. I must say that for some people they'll see this as a bit redundant or like a bit excessive or counterintuitive, but I think this has been really a game changer for me, and also I've found it helpful for not just filling in my reading journal, but when I'm doing social media content and I'm at my computer, whilst I have this right there, I can just quickly grab this. It's smaller and it can sit right in front of my screen and I can just quickly look at the information there. I find it so helpful in so many different ways. So if you're a reading journal enthusiast and you're not someone who wants to be filling in your journal every single day, maybe you have a busier schedule and you can only spend a few days or a few hours in your journal each month, then I would highly suggest doing something like this. This journal here I got from Kmart. It cost me $3. It's pre-printed. It has enough space for me to do all the work that I need to do. I don't have to care about how pretty it looks. I can leave it completely blank. And then this one gets touched for me currently once a week. I fill it in as I've shown you. I could leave it till the end of the month and still be able to fill in everything and have it all be cohesive, but I think for me I wouldn't want to leave it that long because then it would end up being a lot of work. At the end of the month I find just that small amount of time being spent in this journal every week makes me happy. I get to see a lot of progress. I get to tick off a lot of things, which makes me always happy. So definitely doing this way works for me, and I highly recommend, if you can, going to one of your like little shops that are either like a $2 shop or a dollar shop as it is overseas, or somewhere like Kmart, a little like cheap department store. You can pick up something like this really quick and easy and then apply your creative side to just the reading journal and not have to stress so much. I don't think that stress is the right word, because then that makes it seem like this is a lot more serious. This is a creative process though, and it does mean a lot to me. I actually carve out time in my day and in my life for journaling, so I want to do it in a good way and I like to have it look a certain way. So I think this is really an effective way, and like I said, this has become my new best friend in the journaling world, and I just really wanted to show it off to everyone. And to be honest, I didn't actually have a video planned, so this one really filled in a little bit of a gap before the mid-month reading update that will be coming next. So until we next meet, I hope you have fun reading or journaling, and I'll see you in my next video. If you have any questions about this, by the way, just leave them in the comments and I will happily talk about it all day and night. See you later, guys. Bye.